Yeah.
Have you got any groovy wines?
Yeah. That's quite popular. Of the viscosity of the wine, and that's generally a measure also of the level of alcohol in the wine. My company is Clark Foister Wines, specialist wine importers. I suppose our unique selling point is that we're experts in what we do. We are specialists in wine, and we aim to source wine which is authentic, which is wine of quality, which is wine that says something about where it's come from, that's been made with passion, and that says something about its place. It's a wine that's been produced, often handmade, in a small vineyard, often with a small family domain producing it. And we ship it to the UK, and then once it's in the UK, then we sell it on, and we sell to all kinds of different customers. And we sell a lot to the London on-trade, to restaurants with expensive wine lists who have sommeliers to hand sell the wines, independent merchants, supermarkets. We sell to Waitrose, we sell to the Wine Society, and we also sell to private customers. So that's us, Clark Foister Wines, and I'm Isabelle Clark. The Foister is my husband, Lance Foister, so it's very much a family business at our end as well. About 6 or 7 years ago, Lance was working for a small wine company which was due to be taken over, and he was offered the opportunity of taking over parts of the business that the large company wasn't interested in and setting up on his own. So neither of us had been particularly entrepreneurial. We were both very happy as employees with our regular monthly salaries, and we didn't come from an entrepreneurial background at all. But it seemed like a good opportunity to do something that we believed in. We were very confident that the wines that Lance was dealing with then had a good future in the UK, and so we decided to set up our own company. A lot of people, when I tell them a bit about our business, they ask, you know, how do we source our wines? And the answer is there isn't really one standard way. We source lots of wines in different ways. A wine that we buy from France, La Combe d'Almas, and this was a tip-off that came from somebody who went on holiday to Collioure, which is a beautiful area in the Roussillon in the southwest of France. And he went to a nice restaurant and drank a very nice wine, and then thought, that's not imported in the UK. So he gave us a call and said, I've found some nice wine, you should get in touch with them and see what you think. So we asked them to send some samples, and then got a day flight from Ryanair to fly over and meet them, tasted the wines, saw the property, thought these are fantastic wines, and so they were added to our list as well. I should also mention Burgundy, and that's a different kind of relationship where it's a slow and steady relationship, where it's one that you build over a number of years, where you really have to prove your credibility as a serious wine professional. So it's quite eclectic how we come across the wines. So we feel that it's a partnership, it's a long-term relationship, and the people that we buy from are almost as important as the wine. If a wine is good, that's a good reason to buy it, but we won't buy a wine that's fantastic unless we feel the real sympathy with the person as well, and their philosophy, the way they do business, the way they make their wine. There's got to be a personal contact as well, and there's got to be some kind of chemistry. And we do quite a lot of trips to go and see our suppliers, and we quite often go along with clients as well. And also those educational trips are a great way to enthuse people with the wines, because they get to meet the winemakers face to face, they see the wineries, the vineyards, and that's a great way to communicate something about the passion of the winemakers. For us, that's a really important part of the way that we sell our wine. So it's not just an anonymous product, but it's something that we feel passionately about, that we've been to the winery, we've bought it, generally with the exclusive importers in the UK. So we've put our name behind that wine, so it's something that we believe in, and I think that when we're selling, something about that comes over. I suppose the marketing that we do is also important. We do professional trade tastings, so there are normally ones every year for different countries where everybody can come together and present Australian wine or Portuguese wine or Austrian wine, so we tend to go along to those. And we see our existing customers, show them new products, and then we can also hopefully meet new customers as well. I think there is a lot of interest in wine, but there's a lot of mystique about it as well. And it seems to me that that the way to bring people into wine is to emphasise not all the kind of wine anorak side of it and the point scoring and the competitive nature of my cellar's bigger than yours and I've drunk older wine than you have and all that kind of rubbish, but to emphasise that it's about sharing a glass with somebody. For me, I think the way to bring new audiences to wine is to unravel the mystique. And then you can also talk about where the wine is from, talk about the winemakers, talk about the people behind it. And I think that's much more interesting and much more engaging. It's not just the wine, it's not just the business, but there's also a huge social side of it. It's also the relationships with people, your customers and your suppliers. It's one of the wonderful things about wine is the way that it brings people together. It is, obviously, it's something that's in a glass and it's something that people can get very poncy about. But at the end of the day, the essence of wine for me, it's a social thing. It's something that brings people together and in an enjoyable and pleasurable way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's quite a popular.
It doesn't work. Oh. Or like smoked salmon, you put lots of lemon on and then have a glass of champagne. There's something with the lemon and the champagne just doesn't work very well together. That's good to know. Yes, but champagne goes with many foods. I interviewed